Now, let's talk about the costs of a financial advisor. Let's talk about what expense that might look like. And let's talk about how you may want to consider it or think about it in your own mind. Oftentimes, when I'm talking to clients or others in our network, or even in just my own social circles with my friends, they're like, I'd love to have that. But you know what? Business can't afford a CFO. They're expensive. They can't afford have somebody inside the business. It's too expensive. I can't afford the overhead. I need that expertise, but I can't. Or it'd be nice, but they're hard to hire. And why is that? Well, let's talk about it. Why it's hard is because if it's not something you know well, how do you even know how to hire it, right? If you don't know the things you're trying to do, it's easy. If you're a painter, it's easy to hire other painters. Why? Because you know what the painting looks like. You can ask them the questions, so you're comfortable doing that. If you want to try to figure out how to hire a project manager, well, you've worked with plenty of project managers before. It's easy to hire a project manager. You know what a good one looks like, and you certainly know what a bad one looks like. But it's very difficult and uncomfortable to hire financial expertise when you don't have any expertise finance yourself. And that alone is really what usually is the obstacle. Now, you can decorate it with, I'm uncomfortable, I think it's too expensive, I don't know. But the reality is you're just uncomfortable hiring that person most often, and getting over that mental hurdle is very key. And I speak from experience on that. That was something that was uncomfortable for me. So how do you overcome that? Well, first, you interview lots of different people. You hear what those people do. You let the interview process speak for itself. You tell them what your problems are, what information you need, why you need it in a certain way, and then you have to trust and listen to them tell you what they will do to make it better. And if you interview more than 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, you're going to hear multiple different ways of how to go about that. And your feeling inside will you'll be drawn to someone or some of the information. And then you can also hire interim CFOs for service or for hire that can help you bring these people in. They can help you build the financial structure. You can lean on your accounting department. What's really important to understand about finance is a lot of these folks have to have licenses. And in those licenses, that creates a fiduciary responsibility, which means they are responsible and accountable to you legally per their license, just like having a license for anything else in a professional service, like contracting. And so that piece is very important and critical for you to look at as you're trying to bring this talent in. Let's talk about the cost. Well, there's all different ways. You can bring a full-time employee in and obviously fit them into a salary. You can bring an interim CFO in and work for a fee for service. You can hire an accounting department and leverage their facility, their team, and what they need and what you need on a project basis. So maybe it costs 5, 10, 15 grand. Maybe it's 20 grand. It all depends on the size of your business and where you're at to build a financial foundation, I like to call it, that you're going to build your business on. Financial foundation is how are you accounting for the money that comes into your business and goes out of your business. It's not just project expenses, but somehow it's overhead. How do you create what you would call your general ledger? This is your chart of accounts. Are you going to use credit cards? Are you using different debt sources? Do you have a line of credit? How are you accounting for revenue when it comes in? Is it going to be when you bill it or when you actually receive it? All of these things are part of that financial structure. And once you build that structure, it's very easy as a business owner to plug into it because you now know how things are going to move in and out. You can then create reports off of that. What is important to understand is the cost of that might be just a project cost itself. It's a sunk cost. And then you can hire someone like a controller or a bookkeeper, and they will follow that system and process. What you don't want to do is have someone that's not experienced. There's someone that's very experienced in managing into a financial structure, hire them and ask them to create the financial structure or not have a financial structure and they sort of just have to plug it in wherever they go. That's how you get these income statements and balance sheets and financials coming out of some of the accounting software that just doesn't make sense. It's kind of a mess. It's sort of as you grew, you sort of just build it, and the person behind it didn't really understand how to build a financial structure. They just sort of plugging things in and out. So you want to create that financial structure first. That's going to come from more of a CPA, your accountant, an interim CFO, someone with a high financial construction IQ. A controller or a bookkeeper may have that too, depending on their experience, but that's going to be harder to find. Think of a bookkeeper or a controller as someone who can plug into the financial structure and system that you've created with your accountant or CFO or CPA or whoever. Then you're going to utilize them and teach them how to plug it into the system, which is then going to provide you the information you need on a routine basis. So you can create a project cost, and that could cost all kinds of money. It just depends on where you're from. It could be as little as $3,000 or $4,000 if you're in a new business just starting out. It might be $20,000 or $30,000 if you're in a huge business and you don't have it the right way. Either way, or somewhere in between. You can lean on your accounting team for that. Not internal team, but your accountants. A controller, a bookkeeper. Those are great to have. Depending on your size of your business, you can pay them by the hour. They could be a 1099. They could come in once a day, once a week. A lot of them can work off the cloud. You just need to have someone that you can make sure is managing your transactions on a daily, weekly basis and coding it correctly. The days of doing quarterly financials, in my opinion, for a construction company should be gone. You really should be getting your report card, which is your income statement, your balance sheet, and your other financial reports on a monthly basis. If you create and start that practice early in your, not early in your career, but early in your company's life, it'll be much easier for you to look at that on a month-to-month basis and make your little tweaks and guidance. If you're only doing that quarterly and you're sending all your bank statements into your accounting team or your accountant or CPA once a quarter and asking them to do it, it makes it very difficult for them too. And it's quality information, but it's not going to be quality information you can use in real time. It's not just about doing taxes, but it's about you being able to have the tools and drive and information that you need in front of you in real time, month over month, week over week. That is why I think you should do it on a monthly basis, and then look at what your report card looks like. So the added cost that we've talked about, let's think about that. Let's just say in your business it costs you $50,000 or $100,000 or more for this financial acumen. Yes, that's a high cost. Maybe that's a higher employee cost that you might have than some of your others. Maybe not at all. It just, again, depends on the size of your business. Some teams are going to be spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on their accounting team or just their CFO alone. Here's what's critical. That financial information, when you look at it in real time, imagine it saving you the bad project. Imagine it saving you from the vendor relationship you lost. Imagine it saving you or getting you the extra terms you needed. Imagine it keeping you from having to hustle money every single week because you're worried about payroll. What is that dollar amount worth to you? One project alone, bid correctly, or every project you have with a little tweak to it from this financial expertise, bid correctly, could save or more than pay for the expertise that you've now provided yourself inside your business. That's how you should look at the information from a financial and cash flow perspective, and having that expertise either in your business, access to it in your business, or some portion in or out of your business. That's the way to look at this from your perspective, and it will help you really frame up the reasons why you need to keep somebody here, internally and externally.